I did not expect to be talking about Star Wars Battlefront 2 in 2022, given that support for this game ended quite a while back. Remember that back in April 28th, 2020, EA and DICE released a blog post titled, "After 2 years of free content, the vision for Battlefront 2 is now complete." And you can look at the post right here where they basically announced that with the battle on Scarif, that would serve as the last update for the game. And while the game is still online, it's not receiving any new content updates. It's really not being supported all that much anymore, save for probably like a skeleton crew. And this is something that greatly disappointed players, given that it felt like Battlefront 2 was coming back. It obviously had an awful launch with how poorly the loot boxes were implemented, with how lacking in content it was, with how broken it was at launch. But over time, things did get a lot better. They completely removed paid loot boxes and had content updates that were compelling, and so you got people saying stuff like, but why we were doing so well, why not keep the ball rolling and build up Battlefront 2 into a live service that maybe can come back and become a lot bigger? Well, the reason was that DICE decided to focus on Battlefield 6, as it was known back then. This is, of course, Battlefield 2042 we're talking about, and we all know how that turned out. And the consequence to Battlefront 2 no longer getting any support is that when new issues crop up, they are either not dealt with at all or dealt with very late. And that's what's happening right now with one particular issue that's basically breaking the whole game. It is basically a bug where nobody can die. Twice within the span of a week, I have joined a game where nobody can die. People fire at each other, try to kill each other, their health goes down, they do not die. You can run around the map outside of the usual boundaries and you will not die. Is this because someone was cheating when the game began? It glitched, or is it a strange bug that happens occasionally? This is a post with thousands of responses, with tons of people reporting a similar issue, and this was a post from October of 2021, so it's been a couple months now, and the issue has still not been addressed. And what's going on here is basically a problem where HP cannot go down below 1 HP. Battlefront 2 is broken, the 1 HP glitch is ruining the game. This was posted on December of 2021, and it was during December when the issue got particularly bad, when the frequency of matches where nobody can die became a lot higher. This forum user from October reported twice within the span of a week. That's gotten worse and worse over time, and by December, the frequency at which this issue showed up just became untenable and made the game unplayable. The whole point of the game is to kill other players, and when you cannot do that, it's basically a game that serves no purpose. It's straight up just a broken game that isn't working. And with how long this issue has persisted, people have become pretty frustrated now with this Reddit post from the PC gaming subreddit, for example, stating that Battlefront 2 is almost broken by hackers, and again, like Titanfall 2, EA is doing nothing about it. Over 7,000 upvotes, 95% upvote ratio. Plenty of people are echoing similar sentiments, and it's especially egregious when Battlefront 2 is a game that's still being sold. People can still buy the game, but it's straight up not working a lot of the times because players cannot die. And so it's basically the argument of, if you're going to sell this product, you have to upkeep it at least enough that it's not just completely broken and unplayable, and a product that straight up just doesn't function as intended on a fundamental level. And this is a wide-reaching issue that occurs just about everywhere, according to Kotaku's article, from online PvP multiplayer to cooperative play and beyond. It's an affliction across the board. And you can actually see what this issue looks like through various YouTube videos that have been published over the months. This one, for example, was released on October 12, 2021, and the problem looks something like this. You can see the player in the match, entering the battlefield, getting smacked and shot from all directions. He himself doing some damage, but nobody is dying. It is something of a clusterfuck right now. It is a pissing match of pure chaos where nobody's able to leave this mortal coil. And so obviously this match is completely untenable. Here we have another one from the following month, November 21st, 2021, which goes to show just how long this problem has persisted in this game. In this case, we got lightsaber wielders dueling but unable to kill each other. You can see 1 HP here for this player. He's getting smacked around, nothing's happening. He's doing some damage as well, but the enemy isn't dying either. And it's yet another crap fest. Here's one more for good measure from November 26, 2021, a couple days after the last video, and here's what that looks like. Player runs in, a bunch of players all over, shooting each other, or slicing each other, but nothing. Yeah, I mean, obviously this is just not how the game is supposed to work. And then things got bad enough in December that plenty of prominent content creators who cover games like Star Wars Battlefront 2 have been calling this out and call the game completely broken, and this is just one example right here. There are plenty of other videos out there reporting on this. Now, we have gotten some responses to EA acknowledging the issue, but giving a very vague timetable as to when this will be fixed. So in response to this post from a month ago, December 19th, 2021, titled, "I'm not unconvinced the 1 HP glitch isn't just EA themselves," an EA producer said that feedback surrounding this issue has been passed on, but I have nothing more than that, I'm afraid. And below that, you've got a response expressing frustration given how long it's been, over a month, since the issue has been reported, and yet still we are seeing responses that seem to indicate that not a whole lot of progress has been made. If you don't, then who does? It's been well over a month, and I have not seen a single communication from EA or DICE about addressing this. Even if they're no longer updating Battlefront 2 with substantial new patches, updates, and content additions, this is a severe enough of a problem that fundamentally breaks the game that people thought EA and DICE would get on this, but it's already been a month by this time. Still, it seems like they've got nothing to report on addressing this issue, and so of course people are like, what the hell? It's been so long, and this is all you have to give us. And the following day, on December 20th, 2021, we did get a response from a community manager, Total FPS, who said, "Would just like to make it known that we are aware of the issues going on within and around the game right now. I unfortunately don't have any further updates, but please know that it's on the radar. Sorry for the inconvenience, folks." Obviously, this is just the messenger, and we shouldn't be shooting the messenger, but people are frustrated that it seems like they're only now starting to maybe begin looking into this when they should have already resolved this by now. And so you've got responses like, "I wish it was more than just on the radar and something more along the lines of fixes being worked on. On the radar would have been an acceptable response 6 weeks ago." Now, the same community manager did provide a more recent response just yesterday on January 16th, 2022. This happened in the Battlefield 2042 subreddit, where fans are still disgruntled about the state of the game. And an unrelated note, somebody asked him, "Did you manage to get any feedback on Battlefront 2 being literally unplayable on PC multiplayer since you put it on the team's radar in December? I guess I would understand your hands are already full with a new community with pitchforks, but the previous one want to know to hold on to some hope or move on and uninstall. Thanks in advance for your kind reply." Total FPS responded with this: "With folks only just returning to the office this past week, progress has understandably and unfortunately been slow through the holidays. However, progress was made towards getting a fix in place. It will be fixed, and we'll keep you all updated when they can do so." So at least now we're getting a more definitive response that this is getting more of a higher priority, and we are working on a fix. But a lot of people are also baffled by the fact that, yes, developers went on holiday, and obviously they deserve that break, but given that the issue has been reported heavily since October, with the issue getting worse and worse over the months, many people feel like this issue should have been resolved long before the holidays even began. Though keep in mind that when it comes to ground floor developers, it's not necessarily up to them. It has to come from decision makers and higher ups to say, all right, we are going to assign some folks to fix this issue for Battlefront 2. Developers can't just jump on that willy-nilly. They have to follow a certain chain of command. So it really is the decision makers' fault. So don't send hate to developers. They're just doing what they're being told to do under the circumstances that they're being given. But this situation still kind of sucks, given that Battlefront 2 ended the way it did. Just as things were starting to pick up, EA decided to end support for the game. And there are currently still a decent amount of players playing, not as much obviously as in its prime time, but enough that this game should not be in this state. It is inexcusable that this game is straight up unplayable in many matches, and given the game is still a product that's being sold that some people might still buy, you know, like it is still something that EA should be responsible about ensuring that a product that's available for sale just works. And also keep in mind that at one point, Epic Games Store gave out Battlefront 2 for free, which created a huge influx of new players. And so I would bet that there's still a good amount of players playing, enough that this issue is making the rounds and making headlines, and people are being loud about this issue that should have been fixed a long time ago, that shouldn't have seen this much of a delay, given how game-breaking it is. But at least for now, we do have an acknowledgement that there is a fix coming, but in terms of what the timetable looks like for that fix, that's still vague. So it could be days, it could be weeks, it could be months. Nobody knows, given how infrequent communication surrounding Battlefront 2 has been, given that this is a title that's now been abandoned by EA and DICE, them having moved on to Battlefield 2042 and then having ruined that game. So yeah, this is just not a great situation for DICE to find itself in the midst of all of the issues that Battlefield 2042 is facing. It's a really rough time to be a fan of DICE and their games that have just been on a losing streak these past few years, and the hope is that with Vince Zampella taking over Battlefield and some of the restructuring that happened recently surrounding DICE, that things will start improving, that the downswing will start kind of going back up. But for now, it is disappointing that Battlefront 2 has gotten such a low priority to fix such a major game-breaking issue. Only time will tell how much longer Star Wars Battlefront 2 players will have to wait before the game-breaking 1 HP issue is fixed. But until we hear more, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on these latest developments surrounding Star Wars Battlefront 2 and the general state of DICE as a game development studio. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.